the UCP introduces their bill on transgender Albertans.
This government does not turn to the notwithstanding clause unless the stakes warrant it.
Another bill that leans on a rarely used clause. A report hints at two-tier health care, letting doctors work in both the public and private system. And Alberta bound.
People are going to have opportunities across the country that will move them to other places.
Thousands from the Greater Toronto area now calling Calgary home.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. The province is once again using the notwithstanding clause. This time it overrides charter rights in order to implement laws affecting transgender Albertans. Stephanie Thomas joins us with more. And Stephanie, what are the details of the bill?
Ian, it's all part of Bill 9, also known as the Protecting Alberta Children's Statutes Amendment Act. It affects girls' sports, pronouns, and trans youth health care. The UCP majority government invoked the notwithstanding clause to pass legislation that could violate certain charter rights. The province used it just last month to end the teachers' strike. This latest legislation bans hormone therapy for those under 16 and gender-affirming surgery for age 18 and under. It requires parental consent for pronoun changes at school, and parents must opt in for sexual health classes. And it blocks trans athletes over age 12 from competing in female amateur sport, requiring participants to prove they were born female. The Premier says families, teachers, coaches, medical professionals, and young people were consulted and strong opinions were shared.
As a government, we have a responsibility to provide clarity, a responsibility to protect all children and youth, and a responsibility to give parents, not institutions or courts, the primary role in life-changing decisions about their children.
Critics say the move targets Alberta's most vulnerable youth. Egal Canada says it plans to take the province to court as experts worry about the erosion of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Queer Citizens United is also holding a rally outside McDougall Centre on Thursday afternoon at 5 p.m. Ian.
Stephanie, thank you. The battle over the Progressive Conservative Party name has reached the courtroom. Former UCP MLAs Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair are being sued by the United Conservative Party. The lawsuit seeks to block the changing of the Alberta Party name to the Alberta Progressive Conservative Party. The UCP claims they have owned and used the name since acquiring it after the merger between the PCs and the Wild Rose Party. Guthrie calls the trademark claim weak and says the lawsuit is about intimidation. The lawsuit heads to court next month. Alberta's healthcare system could soon be in for a massive private-public overhaul, according to new reporting from the Globe and Mail. Tim Brooke joins us with details. And Tim, that publication obtained draft legislation that suggests two-tier healthcare is coming.
Yes, Ian, it says physicians who are currently working in Alberta's public healthcare system will soon also be able to offer their services in the private markets. Now, that would make it a first-of-its-kind parallel model system here in Canada. And, well, it's already drawing the ire of many healthcare providers as well as many experts right across our province. Now, right now, all provinces allow doctors to either work in the public system or to opt out completely in favor of private billing. If this legislation is eventually presented and then passed, it would allow physicians here an opportunity to do both of those things. Now, some believe this model can streamline the system and help patients with financial means receive treatments in a timely manner. But many argue this would only increase wait times for those who don't have the money to pay for private work and eventually incentivize doctors away from our public system.
I can't speak to specifics of legislation before it gets into the House, but I am always looking for opportunities to make sure that Albertans have increased access to the supports and the resources that they need.
It means a doctor who has limited time to see patients will now choose whether she wants to see a patient who can pay more on the private side or a patient for whom she'll be paid less on the public side. This is American-style medicine. We know it doesn't work.
Now, in theory, the federal government could withhold funding from a province that it believes is trying to skirt the Canada Health Act. So we reached out to the federal government today to ask if that could be in the cards here in Alberta if this legislation is passed. The health ministry in Ottawa, Ian, would only say that it has to wait to find out some more details about this bill before it can comment further.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Calgary's flag-raising policy will remain the same for now. An effort to ban foreign national flags at Calgary City Hall didn't even make it to debate. Councillors voted against adding it as an urgent motion on this morning's agenda. It comes just days after the Palestinian flag was raised at City Hall for the first time ever. Mayor Jeremy Farkas says he heard concerns from members of the public that national flag raisings can heighten tensions in Calgary.
That's really the spirit of bringing this motion, is that when you fly one flag or not another flag, it begs the question of taking sides in these international conflicts, which is really not the role of our mayor and council.
Some councillors argued the motion wasn't urgent and they wanted to speak to Calgarians before making a decision. The motion can still be introduced through a committee, though that would not happen for several weeks. After a 10-year wait, a family of Syrian refugees living in Alberta welcomed their daughter and young family to Canada last night. After fleeing Syria in 2012, the Mohammed family came to Canada 4 years later. They were granted permanent residency, but their daughter had recently married and had to apply separately. Her application was initially denied, sparking a decade-long battle with the immigration system. Their efforts paid off last night, with the couple and their 2 children greeted by an emotional crowd of friends and family.
So happy to see my daughter to be with my all kids here. You know, I'm very happy with her kids, with her husband, to build new future here in Canada, you know.
يعني ما عم أحس إنه هذا حقيقة اللي عم يصير.
I feel like I'm dreaming. I can't believe it's actually happening.
According to Global Affairs, Canada has resettled more than 100,000 Syrian refugees since 2015. Alberta's new license plate will be the one with Moraine Lake on it. The province says more than 240,000 votes were cast. In the end, the majority of Albertans picked the backdrop with Banff's Moraine Lake over the one with the Pump Jack and Ranchers. The new plates will be available around the middle of next year. Such a beautiful spot in the Rocky Mountains. Okay, we saw that rain earlier. It's starting to transition into snow a little bit.
Yes, we're right at the precipice of a warm front coming in, which sounds kind of confusing when we're talking about rain and snow, but I'll break it down in a better detail for you at our full weather hit. But let's take a quick look outside right now, and you'll just get a glimpse of that wintry mix over the city right now, low-lying clouds and a little bit of reduced visibility at the surface. And of course, we have this freezing rain warning in effect for Calgary and areas to the northeast of us, including the QE2 there. Right now, driving conditions are looking pretty good in Calgary, despite what you're seeing on the screen here, but definitely seeing more slick conditions on the QE2 there. When we take a look at the next 24 hours, we only have a bit more time with this wet system before things clear out overnight. We get that nice sunshine back in the forecast, right on time for midweek Wednesday there. Your 24-hour forecast is brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thavvw.com.
Thanks, Gina. When a first responder shows up for work, they never know what they'll face that day. Still to come, a conference meant to help address the trauma that police, firefighters, and paramedics can encounter on the job. And voyeurism charges after incidents in a pair of change rooms at local stores. An Airdrie man is charged with 3 counts of voyeurism after incidents at 2 local shopping malls. Police say the first incident happened in a fitting room at Sport Check in Chinook Centre on June 30th. A girl noticed a cell phone pointing up at her when she went into the fitting room. She told her mother, who told store staff. Then on July 19th at the Winners store at Northland Mall, a woman noticed a man standing near the change room and a phone on the floor of the fitting room. The man then fled the store. Police searched a home and seized 7 cell phones and a hard drive. 25-year-old Benjamin Ryan Turcott is charged with 3 counts of voyeurism. Two women have been charged after an animal cruelty investigation in northern Alberta. In September, Valley View RCMP started investigating allegations of animals in distress and animal cruelty. Police say the animals were in various states of distress on two properties operating as an animal rescue. A few of the animals had to be euthanized on site. 16 animal welfare agencies from across the province took in the cats, dogs, horses, and other livestock. The women faced 2 criminal code offenses and 1 under the Animal Protection Act. Calgary Animal Rescue Group is also looking for a new home for 35 hamsters, including nearly 20 that have been taken in this month. They arrived after someone bought a hamster from a pet store and didn't realize the pet was pregnant. ARCS is looking for supplies and families looking to adopt the critters. I'm sure they'll find lots of loving homes for those animals.
Our director, Kelsey, just asked if my cat Olive would like some pet hamsters.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good mix.
Maybe for a little snack, but no, they'll find a great home, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just a one-day thing, this weather, right? Tomorrow it improves, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's really been the theme for our weather story in November so far. But we do see more of a sustained cool-off a little later in the next week. So we'll focus on that later. Let's talk about what's going on right now. You can see that reduced visibility on our Skywatch weather camera there. It's because we have this warm front just on our doorstep in Calgary that's lifting all that light warm air over the cold air at the surface and creating that instability and the freezing drizzle we're dealing with right now. Not too breezy out there though. Very calm winds this hour in Calgary, just around 4 kilometers an hour, variable direction, a little stronger closer to the southwest foothills there, Pincher Creek up to 50 kilometers an hour right now. Over the last 24 hours, comparing where we're at right now versus this time yesterday, we're 9 degrees cooler. So definitely instability in the air right now. And we have that wintry mix enveloping Calgary currently. Here's a look at what's going on here. It is a weak low pressure system, but it does have the classic cold front and warm front attached to it. So really creating that messy mix there. And what we need to do, what's important to know is warm front moves slower than the cold front. So this cold front is going to catch up to the warm front a little later this evening, and that'll start to dissipate the conditions, and we'll get some nice clearing as this system starts to move out, and then a ridge of high pressure back in for Wednesday. But right now, we are seeing still some freezing rain warnings just to the east of Calgary. So good news, this has probably just updated because the last time I looked, Calgary and the QE2 were involved in the freezing rain warning. That has lifted, but still involves some areas again to the east of us on the Trans-Canada there, and then fog advisories as you extend into Saskatchewan. So when we look at the rainfall for the next 24 hours, we're in the thick of it right now, but it starts to taper off right at around 10, 11 o'clock tonight. A little bit of a different story for Banff. It'll take a little while longer, but you'll see it ease off in the early morning hours of Wednesday. Very quiet in Lethbridge. They missed most of this system today, but saw a little bit of that freezing drizzle in the morning hours during their morning commute. So walking through the future cast here, again, a couple more hours of this, and then we see that clearing take hold for Wednesday morning. And then it's a pretty quiet future cast for the next couple of days here. So lots of sunshine for Wednesday there. Winds will be calm as well. So a beautiful setup for tomorrow. And then a little bit of cloud on Thursday. But then as we get into Friday, the jet stream will readjust, and that's going to get us a little windier, but still that'll help get us to a nice high of 9 degrees. Keep in mind the seasonal temperature for this time of year is just 1. So nice positive temperatures throughout the week.
A major gathering focused on supporting the mental health of first responders is underway. It's the second annual Western Canada First Responders Mental Health Conference. This is the first time it's in Calgary, building on a sold-out event last year in Edmonton and another conference in Eastern Canada earlier this year. The event caters to first responders, whether they're police, fire, paramedics, or dispatch. Many organizations say they're seeing rising rates of burnout, PTSD-related injuries, and staff shortages, making mental health supports more urgent than ever.
First responders, like all people in uniform, are trauma-exposed professionals, see the world through a different lens and respond in a different way. They think about the world in a different way, and therefore they needed to be treated in that unique way, respecting who they are, their training, and some of the things they see.
The keynote speaker was Olympian and physician Dr. Haley Wickenheiser, who talked about resilience and the importance of long-term wellness. Calgary will soon get a new live-in mental health facility for children.
So there's no cost to families. This is funded both by provincial government as well as donors. And so that's very important to us because we know if kids are going to access these services, many of them will not have the ability to pay.
CASA Mental Health will break ground on the new facility in Northeast Calgary next spring. It will serve 80 kids dealing with depression, anxiety, and ADHD each year. The organization says it provides care in the missing middle of mental health care for children between hospital and home. The facility will open in the fall of 2027. And in less than 2 years, the Calgary Flames will be playing in a sparkling new arena. Coming up, Flames management gives us a preview of what to expect at Scotia Place. New data shows more than 35,000 households left the Greater Toronto area in the past year, and many of them ended up here in Alberta. Environics found about 3% of those departing the GTA relocated to Calgary. That's about 2,500 families, making Calgary the top non-Ontario destination. Experts say affordability is a major driver as younger people and growing families look for more room and a lower cost of living.
Certainly, the costly housing market in the GTA is going to be a driver. Part of it, though, is just going to be economic opportunities. People are going to have opportunities across the country that will move them to other places. So, some of what gets picked up here is people immigrating into the GTA and then moving to other places like Calgary or Edmonton or Vancouver.
The Canadian Real Estate Association found the benchmark price for all housing types in Calgary dropped to around $568,000 in October, marking the 6th consecutive month of year-over-year declines. The province is once again using the Notwithstanding clause. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. The clause is being used to shield 3 transgender bills from court challenge. Now, the Premier argues suspending charter rights is needed in this case to protect the safety of children. Coming up at 6, we'll have more reaction to that. Also ahead, 2-tier health care appears to be coming to Alberta. Coming up, why a medical professor from the U of C is warning about unintended problems. Ian.
Thanks, Tara. The Salvation Army Hope in the City event is one of the key fundraisers of the holiday season, and this year's guest speaker is Robert Hayes, the president and CEO of the Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation. Robert joins us now. Thanks very much for speaking with us today.
My pleasure.
We have just enjoyed a successful Grey Cup game in Winnipeg. Calgary hosts the Grey Cup next year. Will McMahon Stadium be ready for it?
McMahon Stadium will be ready, and your question is timely as I attended the most recent Grey Cup just to see what was happening in Winnipeg, and first off, hats off to them. They did a great job. What I would suggest is we've taken the best that they have done, and we're looking to make that even better when we deliver the Grey Cup to Calgary next year, and in fact to the whole country. We have some new things that are planned for McMahon from 2019 when we last hosted the Grey Cup, and I think people are really going to be impressed and excited with the show that we put on.
Okay, let's talk about the coming hockey arena, Scotia Place. It's under construction right now. How will the experience of watching a hockey game there be different from watching a game at the Saddledome?
I would describe it as we are creating this arena with in mind that we want to create it a very difficult place for the opposition to play. And so what I mean by that is most stadiums go out a little bit. Our stadium is going to go up. The fans are going to be even closer to the action, going to be louder, make it more difficult for the opposition to play, cheer when we score all those goals and win all those games. What you're seeing now is just going to be tremendous. I've talked to people right across North America, shared some of these renderings, and we are going to be the envy of everybody when it comes to stadiums in North America from what others have fed back to us. We have incredible restaurants that is going to going to be available to everybody. We've got seating for everyone, all kinds of different places that you want to go in the stadium. From that perspective, we of course have our flex washrooms, very important. We're going to have washrooms that if we have a country music concert that may be a little heavier from a female perspective, we can flex washrooms that way. And if we have a hockey game that tends to be more male orientated, we can flex washrooms that way. So we think we've thought of just about everything relative to this new facility.
To see my extended interview with Robert Hayes, visit ctvnews.ca/Calgary. The World Junior Hockey Championship is returning to Alberta next year. The games will take place in Edmonton and Red Deer. Rogers Place will be the main venue, hosting 17 games, including both semifinals and the medal games. Red Deer will host 14 games, and a few other Alberta communities may be used for pre-tournament training and practices. Next year's World Juniors kick off on Boxing Day and wrap up January 5th. We'll start to dry out tomorrow. Right now in Calgary, it's 0 with some light snow out there. Gina has all the details coming up. I heard some comments today that some people would like some colder weather, a little bit of snow, just to get them into the holiday spirit.
We should see a little bit of that in November. We really haven't had much, but if you do like the warm conditions, you got one more weekend of it. Speaking of visibility, though, for a moment here, you know visibility is bad out there when we have to use the lamppost shot here, and that's what we're dealing with right now. A lot of snowfall, currently wet snow, so not ideal driving conditions currently. We're sitting at 0 degrees. That's all we got to for our high today as well. Close to normal, but just not quite there. A nice warm up on the way, though, as we get into midweek, gradually getting up to 9 degrees by the weekend, and some decently positive temperatures for Saturday and Sunday as well. But yes, looking ahead to about Tuesday next week, cooler air mass starts to push in, and we'll see a longer stretch of cooler conditions with some snow.
Thank you, Gina. The Calgary Arts Group is tackling cyber fraud and phishing scams in a creative way. A group of seniors at Clover Living in Chinatown were treated to a puppet show today. It focused on scams and frauds that target seniors. Today's performance was translated into Mandarin. Calgary's Animated Object Society will bring the show to several other senior facilities throughout the week.
We have Don, who's a crow. He's the hero. He comes fishing, and he catches this catfish, and it's actually a cat dressed as a fish, and then the cat starts trying to scam him, steals his phone away from him, and then they go through a series of things that scammers do to try to trick you. And Don is really smart, so he manages to kind of stop him from scamming him.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre says Canadians have lost $544 million to fraud so far this year. Thanks for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.